The
Yes.
question is, what is the thing, that really changed this man and that really changed most people, right? To shift their mindset from the, apathy to really, changing their lives and, really trying to live a great life.
Yeah, and I think I don't believe I can. I don't. I firmly believe it might sound a little crazy that you can't motivate someone. I think we all have it in us.
Mm.
So my job as a physical therapist and the psychological piece is like just trying to get people to see it. I don't think it's. I think I maybe will give them the tools to see that they're able and they're possible to achieve some of the goals they want to achieve. I don't think I can really motivate someone. I'm there just to sort of be what they want me to be. And it's something that I've grown into and lean into a lot. Because when I first started my career, I was so caught up on like, going through my evaluation with my patients, making sure I was doing my testing and making sure I was giving them the proper exercises. I was very linear in my thought process when I first started my career. And it's taken me a couple of years. And I think the power of listening to people, the power of human connection. So I talk about three things also in part 3 of my book, about
Yeah.
3 lessons specifically that my patients have taught me, and that I, you know, carry with me in my daily mindset. But the power of human connection and just listening to people, and I feel like it's a lost art, and being able to connect with people is so powerful. And I think when I'm able to do that, patients trust me more. I'm able to build a better rapport. But to answer your question, I think we all have it in us. We just need the right tools, if you think of like plants, the right watering to like get it to grow. So I think part of my job is just to get people to buy into and see that they're able to, overcome obstacles and figure out their lives after such a traumatic event.
That's really interesting,
Yeah.
It's so funny because you are a physical therapist, you work on the
Mm-hmm.
body, but it seems like a
Correct.
lot of your job, and I think maybe you could disagree, but maybe the most important aspect of your job is working on the mind.
100%. And that's why it was so 2 or 3 years into my career, I was feeling like burned out. I was so emotionally exhausted. Um, there's this term, compassion fatigue, that really hit me. And it was very exhausting. So like just writing things down psychologically helped me drastically get things out of my head. And yeah, I see 2 patients an hour, and people are unloading on me. They're telling me
Yeah.
their struggles with their family members. I feel so bad. People will cry in their sessions with me. And guess what? Once I'm done with those 2 patients, the very next hour, I have 2 patients coming right in right behind them.
Yeah.
So I never had a chance to really process things. So yeah, it's emotionally exhausting, but I think going back to my point is sometimes I just listen to my patients. And my first visit with my patients is an evaluation. I used to think I needed to get through my testing, see what they can do, what they can't do. There are times now when I just talk to my patients and I don't get to any of the objective testing, because I really do believe building a connection with them is more important and helps in the long run in terms of their recovery and them trusting me more. So sometimes I'll talk to them for 45 minutes, an hour, just about what they're going through, and that has been really, really powerful in their recovery process as well. They're more engaged. They want to come to therapy. They don't cancel as much. They're more, you know, prone to stick to their home exercise program. So those little things are I think speak volumes to how my patients value those things. But yeah, the emotional and psychological piece is paramount in their physical recovery as well.
So that's a great question. So, you are developing, this is like, there's a great idea that people always develop good relationships with their barber. Like when people talk to their
Yeah.
barber, it's 30 minutes of just being sitting there and there's nothing to do, nothing to talk about. So you just start talking to your barber, and it's the same thing with physical therapy and the fact that you're going to be there for 45 minutes. You might as well just talk to the physical therapist because there's nothing else to do, right? And
Yeah.
you're an interesting guy, so hopefully hopefully they like you a little bit more. So I think that's a good question. So you have developed a relationship with these patients, and really, how have you helped them, and also how have they helped you?
Mm. So yeah, I mean, I got into this profession wanting to help other people, right? But never in a million years would I think my patients would be helping me so much more than I would be helping them. They have helped me shift my perspective on, you know, trying to appreciate the small things, appreciate the small victories in our day-to-day struggles. Be grateful for all the things that I do have. One of the ways I feed my happiness muscle is in my apartment here. When I leave every single morning, I have it's like a chalkboard where my keys go. It's like a key holder.
Mhm.
Every single morning, it's just a saying on there, I am grateful for. And every single morning, I just write one thing down. So it sort of sets the tone for me for the day to shift my mindset into being grateful for all the small victories. I know how quickly in an instant life can change, and it can happen to anybody. We can wake up, we can have a stroke, we can wake up, we can get in a car accident. I see it day in and day out. So just being appreciative of all the little things. My patients have really helped me with that. And then just not taking anything for granted, doing things that I want to do now in the moment versus waiting. One of the books that I sort of mentioned in my book is the Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. It was written by Bronnie Ware. And oftentimes we think things that make us happy, the pursuit of material things, the promotion at work, are not the things that really make us happy. Oftentimes the things that make us happy are the things we sacrifice: talking to other people, connecting with others, traveling. Those are the things that really make us truly happy. And those are the things I focus my energies on. So yes, I help my patients with their physical recovery and them talking to me and unloading and being able to get things out of their head. But my patients have helped me so much more that I truly believe, and I feel like I'm helping them.
That's so interesting. So why do you think that
Yeah.
is? Why do you think, and this gets back to the fact that you're dealing with people with extreme physical ailments, why do you
Uh-huh.
think it is that, especially when we're talking about the top 5 regrets of the dying, it's like why do we separate so far from the person that we're meant to be? Like why do we get so clouded in our vision that we could only realize it by the time that we're dying? Why can't like throughout our life we actually become grateful and embrace the right mindset and really focus on the things that make us happy?
Yeah. And the psychological piece is something that I really researched a lot. And one of I talk about the framework of happiness a lot in the book, in the beginning of the book. And there's work by a psychologist from Yale University. Her name is Dr. Laurie Santos.
I
And
took her course. Yep.
so good. And
Yeah.
the framework that she highlights about happiness is that we just are our minds, our brains are so wired to put our energies into the wrong things. And it's things that we don't even notice, but it's the fact that we just are naturally day in and day out are putting our efforts, our minds, the pursuit of things that we think will make us happy into those wrong things. And that's why it sets us up for failure. We're constantly left with this feeling of, you know, not being satisfied. And I'm guilty of it. Like I've always been driven by the final product. I always thought, like soccer wise, just looking back, having, good grades soccer wise, making the varsity team, graduating from high school, going to a good school, college, getting my degree, playing soccer in college. I was fortunate enough to do that. And then after Villanova, I went to PT school. I'm like, all right, I'm going to study really hard, get really good grades, get a great job. I'm like, all right, this is it. I'm going to be super happy when I graduate. And I got my job, and it just never stopped. Even in my job, I was so driven by the final product and the results of moving up the clinical ladder, getting my promotions, and then being the manager. And then I just constantly was chasing this thing that I feel like I never was able to get a hold of. And I was like, what is going on? So I think it sort of speaks to focusing on the present moment. I feel like we lose sight of that. We're constantly looking too far ahead or looking in the past on like regrets or mistakes that we made. So trying to live more in the moment, I think, is a big thing too.
Interesting.
And I'm learning and appreciating that more as I get older.
Yeah, there's actually, so you want to hear a great quote? This quote almost inspires everything that I do, and it's by Tony
Yeah.
Robbins. He says, "Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure."
beautiful,
powerful. It's beautiful.
right?
And I think it really speaks to, you know, the fact that we live most of our lives unconscious. We live most of our lives being influenced by the external environment. School pushes you to go a certain way. Your job pushes you to go a certain way. And you never really sit back and ask yourself, these are all the things that people want from me. What do I want? Right? Like
Mm,
what really is going to make me happy? And I think the fact that we live our lives really unaware of this, the fact that we live our lives just so focused on, yeah, like you said, goals, right? Like these goals of, you know, did you know that 47% of PhD students feel depression after they graduate?
that's it's nuts. And just a prime example of like the final, when you reach your goal, it's okay to have them. I think it's important that you have to have goals, but I
Agreed.
think it's also important to appreciate the little victories along the way, because if you don't, nothing we ever accomplish will ever be enough.